have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
G'day, folks. How are you? Hope you're doing all right for a Friday. And what a Friday it's been. I haven't stopped since, oh, God, I don't even know what time I got out of bed this morning. I think it was 5:30. And the phone started ringing about 7 and has not stopped all day. In fact, I did a little time and motion study yesterday on how much time I spend on the phone versus how much time I spend getting anything actually done. And that's unfair. A lot of things are accomplished on the phone. However, I spent nearly 4 hours. 2 of those were to 2 separate people for over an hour each. And I don't begrudge spending the time. Those people needed my help in one way or another, or I needed theirs. I can't remember which way it worked. But they were long chats, and boy, the day does get away from you when that kind of thing happens. So today, it started early, but thankfully petered out a bit by lunchtime. So by then, some decisions had been made on what we're going to do this weekend, and in fact, how we might be able to help out Wade Northhausen and Billboard Battalion for the next week or so. And of course, I don't make those kinds of decisions alone. I require the input of a man who is best known to you as the Waving Wonder. Oh, and he's just disappeared from the screen. Now that is just weird.
Hello all.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good. I spotted a light in the back, so I was just trying to remove.
What's going on with your background? You look like Quentin.
What do you mean?
Just when you came on, you looked like Quentin. Just saying.
Quentin.
God rest his soul, by the way.
Okay.
Quentin was the thalidomide child that the world came to know through Mike Willesee.
Right.
That's why I thought you'd know him. And
yes, no, I do remember.
He wound up gaining quite a lot of notoriety, and as happens with people who aren't used to being given some stardom, it got a little inflated by ego, from my understanding. Well, I met him a few times. He starred in one of the Mad Max movies as one of the oddities in the bad, like on the bad side. So he was pretty well known, and of course, responsible for helping Willesee expose the thalidomide atrocity, if you like, that was played out. Was it the late 60s or 70s? So, bloody awful. Oh, Mad Fred went to school with Quentin. He was a very smart dude. You know, I remember when I was working at Triple M in Adelaide, the first time I really came across him. And by then he had a healthy attitude, but he's pretty cool. I don't know. That must have been before the Mad Max movie, because after the Mad Max movie, it was a bit different. He was a very different person after that. In school, I imagine he was different again. You know, that's a question I would love to ask him, but unfortunately now he's passed. He was remarkably able, given the handicaps that he'd been given, arms, legs, the whole deal. You know, he was remarkably able to do things. So good luck to him. And I hope he rests in peace. Now, what would you like to talk about first?
Oh, there's so many things, like what's happening with our money. That's one thing, straight off the bat.
Well, we have none, if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know we don't have any. But, I mean, even for everybody else out there who might have a little bit of savings with the major market drop and stuff that's going on at the moment, and crypto, that's taking a major dive. So, yeah, very interesting.
Huge crash on the markets. Australia was affected to the tune. Australia's ASX dropped quite significantly, and there was tens of billions wiped off the Australian market, but more particularly, a lot more wiped off Wall Street. And I don't know if that bloodletting's going to stop when the market reopens, which will be, I think, in about 4 or 5 hours' time. It'll reopen, and what will happen with the market then. Interesting to note that the date will be the 21st in America. It's an interesting date, given, I think, now, this will be a test to see what I remember loading up and what I didn't load up. Let me see. Where is the only Trump thing I thought I would load up? I think there. Oh no, that's the Nuremberg trial thing. So this is the first time that Trump has brought up seditious behavior, punishable by death, and then poses the question: when did the Nuremberg trials start? So November the 20th, 1945. These were the first of multiple trials held in Nuremberg, Germany, where surviving leaders of Nazi Germany were prosecuted for war crimes. That'd be the ones that had been left behind because they had no value at all to Operation Paperclip. I inserted that, not the editor. Crimes against peace, crimes against humanity committed during World War II. The trials took place in the Palace of Justice in Nuremberg. I have been there. It's an interesting place. Yeah, with the first trial concluding in October of 1946 after nearly a year of proceedings. Now, could that be some sort of hint that we're going to see real charges, or given that we have been told that all of this has already happened, could we be about to see played out in a what we in the business call as live? And that would be essentially what this show is if you watch it in replay. You're watching it as live because it hasn't been edited in any way, shape, or form. Except if they're going to play out military trials of sedition and treason, and those military trials find, as we've been told, guilty verdicts and sentences that allow for, in some cases, days, but at the very most weeks before they are carried out, not months, not years, then all of this has already been filmed, from their confessions to their trials to their sentences being carried out. Now, those in the awake community will probably say, oh, yeah, well, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we thought in part, the videos that we're all meant to wait and watch for 3 days would contain. But this could be a way of bringing this out. Trump's mentioning seditious action, and points out that the punishment is death. What happens when he starts pointing out treasonous action, which might show up in the Epstein files that he's just released? We're hearing noises that Chuck Schumer is resigning or is planning to resign, not run in 2027 when he'll have to stand again. Could that be because Chuck rolled and we're just watching, the robot or the mask or the actor playing Chuck Schumer, playing out that role until 2027? Unfortunately, and it's it's quite clear that.
Sorry, I was sharing a screen and it does an automatic chuck up there, and I go. Rah! So I was trying to get it in right. And down. So
that's all right.
You're right. Carry on.
Well, at any rate, I think I just about finished. What are you going to throw up there?
No, that's for when we talk about price of silver, etc. I just thought I'd bring up a live chart so that people could see that. But carry on with what you're doing first, because that's actually very interesting. I mean, we know that
What was I
crimes
saying?
against humanity was done, and Nuremberg 2 is something we've all been waiting for. So
if I'm correct, the Nuremberg 2 started in 2022 or mid to late 2021 with the arrests of Hillary Clinton and I'm sure Bill and Loretta Lynch, who was the former Attorney General, probably a few others. So I would expect that those trials, well, if you go and read the appropriate accredited alt news accounts of the trial, where they essentially get a transcript of what's happened, and unless that isn't an AI generated transcript and it is the real thing, which we have no reason to believe it's AI generated. Most of us generally believe, I think, that Hillary was taken out some time ago, and whatever we're seeing when Hillary pops up on the screen isn't Hillary anymore. A bit like Albo isn't Albo. He's changed the way he looks, changed the way he sounds, changed everything, and it hasn't been through cosmetic surgery or better teeth. It's pretty significant. So I would think that these trials have already taken place, and what we are going to see is them played out in real time very swiftly, particularly maybe the first one or two, and they won't be Hillary Clinton or Obama. They will be some of the underthings from the DOJ and maybe the FBI. There's been a lot of talk about Comey at the moment. Comey is back in court, and a judge is apparently, obviously a Democrat judge, has basically said to the Trump team or the DOJ that they may as well throw the case out. You know, they're never going to win. Comey was an angel. Bullshit, blah, blah. So, yeah. So we'll wait and see what happens there. I think I mentioned last night that there were these stories, if you like, of the dark side having at least 4 satellites of their own up there. And we know that they've got their own space gear. They've been able to put it up for some years, but there has been a lot of space junk falling to Earth in the last week or so. And if the alt media reports are correct, then that's because a kinetic energy device, telephone pole-sized bit of tungsten, but it wouldn't need to be that in space if there's a space. Just qualifying. Just qualifying. It wouldn't need to be a telephone pole-sized piece of tungsten to go through it. They could do it with a claymore set off in the right direction. But the problem is, I guess, with the claymore is aiming it and putting it on something stable enough that's going to keep it aimed in the general direction when it goes off, because they do tend to spray a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, fill it full of ball bearings, the whole thing will just fall apart.
Not to mention that it's got to have an explosive reaction in space, which means that it couldn't be a claymore because it would need oxygen. That's why rockets have an oxygen tank and a liquid nitrogen tank or whatever the other fuel is, because it needs the ability. And you see what happens
and we saw what happens when you mix the two in an uncontrolled environment the last time Challenger launched.
Well, yes, that was due to a leaking O-ring. So they said, not quite sure how they figured that out from. Yeah, anyway. But, right. So, yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about the price of silver and gold? You can bring up your thing.
All right. So, as I said, I apologize to people that when I try and add something to the stream, StreamYard has this wonderful bit where as soon as I add it, it throws it up on the screen, even though I don't want it to.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is the live hourly action on silver as we speak. All right, so you can see this is going.
See that.
Well, we'll go this way.
Oh, I
Kick
like
us out
that.
down the bottom. All right, so this is this thing. So this is going back through from the 14th right through to today. All right, and you can see what's been happening with silver over the last week. And as you can see right now, it's got down here. So it's dropped quite significantly. Now, some of this you might have been able to attribute to the fact that
this is in
American
US
government
dollars,
was shut down. Yes, this is US dollars.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, so I can change that.
It's probably better.
Okay. Now we're in AU dollars. That better for everybody?
Indeed. So 76.75 is the current price.
Yep. And the lowest has got to 75.80 at the moment. So 76.69 is what it's currently selling at, and there's bids for $76.78. So, but that is what we're seeing at this stage. Now, I wouldn't be too concerned about that, because when you really look at it, as we scroll back, right, it got up to a fairly decent high, but here, roughly, I reckon, if I can grab that one and do a horizontal line, I would say that's probably about there, is about as low as silver is going to go at this stage, unless everything crashes in the market, right? That's where it's going to get its most resistance the next time it hits. So
you reckon 75 is the new $50?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Because you can see here, right, that it's touched there, it's touching here, it's touching here, and that's sort of a pretty major support line. So that's where I would see that happening over the little while. But it does depend on what goes on in the markets, because surprisingly enough, silver and the stock markets and gold, they're all sort of tied together. So, and not only that everything that's dropping here is also dropping in crypto as well. Crypto's taking a pretty deep dive. And I think somewhere, if it keeps going down, we'll probably see Bitcoin bottom out at around the $70,000 mark US. That'll be my guess.
You got to send me this thing we're watching at the moment. It supplies a lot of information.
Yeah, TradingView. Yeah, this is the free account because I can't afford to pay for the paid account I used to have. And the only reason I've got a whole heap of stuff here is because it's still hanging off from my last trading account. Luckily, I had gold and silver also tagged. So I can show you gold. There's gold at the moment. And that's, let me change that to AUD. Sorry, I usually work in USD, but that gives you a bit of an idea on what gold is looking like at the moment. And you can see that has come down quite a way. Probably a lot further than silver, really. Oh,
yes. Yes, I think so too. I mean, gold at one stage was nearly at 6,800. Certainly in the mid 6/7s. And, it's lost 500 or more dollars on that now. So, whereas silver hasn't, it's lost.
Sorry, just adjusting a line there. That's about where gold will, I would say, bottom out, about $6,156 thereabouts. So
that's $1,150 better than where it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So either way, we're still, I think, going really well in the precious metals market for our gains relative to the the dollar. I'm not even sure what the US dollar to Australian dollar is at the moment. Probably about 50 bloody cents. So I haven't even looked. And I haven't been watching the chat from people either. But just thought that I would show you that. That's an interesting bits and pieces. We'll probably talk a little bit about that tomorrow night on Coin Toss on the FBN Media Network. And we've got lots of good news happening with that.
64 cents, the Australian dollar at the moment. So,
okay,
coin spot
that's a little lower than normal. Yeah, so we'll talk about Coin Toss.
That's over on the YouTube and the Rumble channel.
Correct, both YouTube and Rumble. And surprising, because we've been working out some figures and bits and pieces, but we actually do better on Rumble in FBN than we do on YouTube by nearly triple.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm really surprised by that. But
yeah, but it's good. It's good to know. Good to know. Yeah. So a lot of great and exciting things. A lot of great and exciting things coming up.
That's right. We don't get paid from either of those, so it doesn't really matter. We're still a fledgling organisation as far as that's concerned. We rely on Carl, the master of the universe. So,
fuck me.
I love embarrassing him. I reckon it's great fun doing it. Right now, what else have you got? Because we've got you back on the road.
Yes, I was going to show you this first, though. I love going to the beach. I love going to the beach. This isn't me. I didn't go to this beach. But this beach was looking out to what's known as the Palmerston Passage. It is the main inlet into the Brisbane port for big ships. And it heads out. Basically, you wind up hitting the open sea on the Sunshine Coast up at Maroochydore, or Mooloolaba. But a very keen-eyed person who was enjoying the beach that morning caught notice of that ship which was passing out of Brisbane. They closed in on it and had a bit of a look at it. Does anybody remember that?
Evergreen.
So one suggests it's had a bit of repair work done. Probably had a few
got back on the sea.
Yeah, a few secret access holes welded up, and it's finally been allowed to go back on the ocean. But for quite a long time, it wasn't going anywhere at all. So, yeah, found that pretty interesting. What else has been going on? Most people have been screaming about the Epstein files in America, and some of the early releases, which we spoke about, I don't know how many months ago. We spoke about one in particular with Paul Keating's daughter, who had been invited to Epstein's apartment or his house in New York City and had attended on a number of occasions. Well, now it seems to have blown up. These are Paul Keating's daughters. The one on the right is the one, I think her name's Catherine. Cat, I don't know. Never took any interest in the Keating family. Never trust a pig farmer. And he owned a very big piggery. I wonder how many bodies. No, let's not go there. Anyway, the daughter is a bit of a socialite, obviously being the Prime Minister's daughter. She went overseas. She went to New York to, go and make her mark on the world, so to speak, as a lot of young people do, and God love her for doing it. But this is back in, I think, 2011, 2012, right around the time where there was Epstein had got out of jail and was still being monitored, I think, but had been put on the sex offenders list. And she was a bit younger than she is in that photo, quite a bit younger. she has put out a statement some weeks ago, or I'm pretty sure it was weeks ago, outlining that, yes, she did get invited, and she was invited at the behest of Andrew. That'd be the former Prince Andrew, the guy who now goes under Mountbatten Windsor or something. He is responsible for inviting her. He, in emails that have been released through early Epstein file releases, has contacted Epstein and said, "Oh, can you get this Keating girl?" Epstein said, "Sure. Do you have her number?" I think he asked the Prince for her number, the former Prince. He supplied it, and she turned up at this event, which she calls a high society cocktail party, where there were many, many celebrities and yada, 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 yada. And I don't doubt for 1 minute that event actually happened. The problem is she's been caught by paparazzi leaving the building the next day. And it's like she stayed overnight. It's a big place, so no insinuations there. It's a very big place, apparently, with cameras in every place. But she and another girl were seen leaving, and Andrew was seen sort of waving, gushing goodbye to them in the shadows of the door. So what other involvement she's had since that time with them, I don't know. And does it really matter? If she has been trafficked in some way, and that's what it would be, she's been trafficked, it would have been from an early age. We've just caught her at, the tail end of it. Quite possibly the reason that Andrew knows her is because he would have dined with the Keating family, would have had access to the Keating family if he came to Australia, and he did come to Australia during the time Keating was not just Prime Minister but also Treasurer. So it opens up an interesting can of worms, which I don't think anybody in the Australian media, at least the mainstream media, is going to dig into, but maybe one of us will. So be something I'd like to see, one of our investigative reporter types try on. So I don't know if you're watching, Amanda, maybe that's something you'd like to sink your teeth into, and we can talk about doing something on FBN with it. That'd be interesting. So yeah, I just find that all a little bit. I have this little thing about first home buyers. So the government, in their infinite wisdom, have allowed a 5% first home buyers system to come into effect. I think it's January 1. That means that anybody will only need 5% of whatever the housing price is that they want. The government will look after the rest of the deposit and help you into the home, probably with somewhere between a 30 and 50-year contract to pay back the debt that you owe, even though any bank is going to go to your SESCV trust and pull that money out and then loan it to you, and you're going to sign a contract to pay them back your own money. Sorry, did I say that out loud? That's it.
Yes,
that's what goes on that's what goes on in my head. I'm sorry. I see these things and it just goes on in my head. Anyway,
well,
this is a forecast of what the housing prices are going to be like in 2026, given this 5% kick that the industry is going to get. So you look at your capital city, everywhere is going up. And this is what having such a low buy-in price, if you like, for first home buyers is going to do, because a lot of people are going to rush to the market. A lot of people are going to get into a huge amount of debt, usury. Look it up, or go and watch one of the Magna Carta videos, or a few of them, because we mention it a lot. But housing prices up 5% in Brisbane, 7% for apartments. Sydney up 7% for houses, 4% for apartments. Canberra 5% for houses, 3% for apartments. Melbourne 6% for houses, 4% for apartments. In Adelaide, 5% for apartments and 4% for houses, 6% for apartments and 5% for houses in Perth. It is going to send prices through the friggin' roof. Our real estate market is going to go through the roof, and nobody will be able to afford it. The debt levels that people are now talking about being willing to get into are staggering. And can I recommend to everybody, go to the Corruption Whistleblower Telegram channel. I meant to download a couple of videos from them. They have served documents on, I'm not sure how many, but at least 2 CEOs of the big 4 banks. I think they've served the Commonwealth Bank and Westpac, from memory, in Canberra at hearings that these people were appearing at. They didn't get an appointment in the office, but they have been served with documents outlining the fraud, the multi-trillion-dollar fraud that the banks have committed against all Australians. The documents that they've presented with detail a huge amount of gold that was sent to Australia. We're talking $1 trillion worth of gold sent to Australia back in the 1960s, I want to say. And it had a 30-year maturity at 4%. And when it matured, which was 1997, that money was meant to be awarded to the Australian people and used for humanitarian projects and to get everybody up and going and, lift, which, let's face it, we were still recovering quite a lot after a few batterings in the late 90s. So, would have come in very handy. Instead, the banks kept all that money, and we're talking multiple trillions of dollars, bearing in mind that this gold was working on an interest of 4% for 30 years. So, huge amount of value. And these documents prove the banks were involved, prove everybody was involved, and also prove that the banks didn't finish the contract by finalizing and putting the money up for public use, humanitarian projects. So the corruption whistleblower all over it, and I'm going to try. I don't know where they are at the moment, but I'll try and give them a call probably tomorrow while I'm driving, Vince, and see if I can't get them on the show for a chat. If they're in Canberra, then I know where they'll be, and I'll like very hard to try and find them, and we'll get together for a show to talk about what they've done there. It's very impressive. So with a bit of luck, they'll be around Canberra.
Yep, you never know. We might get quite a few. So we've actually managed to get the old fella back on the road, be it in a much smaller vehicle, but he's back on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put my bra on.
So as we said, we have Carl. Carl was talking about it last night, and we discussed it today, and we've pulled our pennies, and we do mean pulled our pennies. And we've got Carl down in Canberra for the next week. So he's going to be spending all this time on the road, driving down to Canberra, and then spending some time with Wade, and doing some live streaming out of Canberra, and then sticking around for the week to try and catch these. Well, I was going to swear. Try and catch the Guberment, and I'm not calling them a government, I'm calling them a Guberment, out on what they try and push through in the last week before they stop. So that raises, of course, have you guys got any questions that you would like Carl to raise if he gets a chance to interview anybody? Now's a good time to put them in chat.
Okay. Yes, somebody just put up the Guru announced tonight that he's quitting his show. So I might have to put my bedtime back and give him a ring. Well, I find that very surprising. Unless something's gone wrong with that thing on his jaw. But I was only thinking the other day how good it was looking. I mean, there's no bandage on it anymore, and he seemed pretty sprightly. So Well, if he's given up, then I don't know. I was actually going to tap him and see if he wanted to come for a drive on Sunday and join us, but he may not. But this all could be just a freak out too, with some troll putting something in the chat. But if that is the case, I hope it's just because he's reached an age and a time where he's got to concentrate on himself and his family and look after that. And I wouldn't begrudge him a bit. The man's been on the front line for 5 or 6 years, and
yeah, haven't we all?
Yeah. So, and
hang on, what have we got here? He's not quit. He is not quitting him, and Kaz are taking time off. There we go. He's not quitting. He's just taking. He's taking probably a well-earned holiday break over Christmas with his family, which I reckon would be great. Absolutely great.
Is that a hint?
So, no, we can't do that. We cannot afford to do that. Sorry, Carl. No time off for you.
There'll be no time off for me.
Right, we'll see who runs the show here, really. Me.
Yeah,
look at him, just stunned, right? I just stunned him.
No, I'm reading the chat. So it sounds like Guru's going to do Monday, Tuesday nights, and then Kaz is going to do the rest of it. So
yes, that's that one there. I'll put it up.
Yeah, good on him. All right. Well, I really do hope Guru's health is going well. So, and I trust things are improving there significantly. And if that is the case, it's probably changed his life, and he knows that he wants to spend more time with Mel and Pepsi and the rest of the family. So, that's all cool. We'll miss him if that is the case, but he'll still be there, mate. I'm never going to shut Guru up. Trust me. Well, it'll probably take a dozen nails and a bit of wood, over the top of the box, but
and a whole heap of concrete.
And a whole heap of concrete. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, we're going to head to Canberra. I'm really looking forward to it for a couple of reasons, because it gives me the opportunity to not just participate in what is probably one of the most important issues that Australians face at the moment with Wade and supporting Billboard Battalion. This should be an example of something everybody who does a live stream, Kaz, Guru, see you there at 12 o'clock on Sunday out in front of Parliament House. I'd say the same for the Aussie Cossack, but I know he's hamstrung. I would say the same to anybody who holds, does a show like this and is able to get down there. 12 o'clock Sunday on the lawns in front of Parliament is where we're all going to meet and begin. And we'll have a live stream happening from there. I don't think, as a protest, I don't think there's going to be any marching. I don't expect there to be 1 million people or anything like that. However, if you want to come along, we would love to see you. And if you're going to bring a barbecue, let me know and I'll buy some sausages and we'll have a little barbecue on the lawns. But you're going to have to let us know. So heading down to Canberra, and the plan, there's no point in driving all that way to just do a couple of hours at the Parliament House. Sorry, I just saw Sunflower's question there. And why is the name changed on the stream?
Yeah.
Which
so this one, what's happened is that all of our users suddenly have got extra characters attached to the end of their name. And that's just the example. You can see that at Sunflower-ZS7OL. I have no idea what's going on with that. That's new. That's just popped up today. They've probably been fiddling in the back end because there'll be multiple at Sunflowers somewhere around the world. So they add extra characters, but they normally would be hiding them. So I'm just wondering if someone's accidentally forgot to mark this as a do not show box, and now everybody's copying the extra extensions. But it's interesting. So,
hang on.
Sorry.
Oh shit! Let me for 1 second, and now I can't find it because you've changed it. Was that it? No.
Which one? It's weird.
That one. No, it's just people are jumping and putting stuff in, and it's jumping every time I hit click. Cossack needs to pay for a Freedom truck. Yeah,
it sure does.
Certainly be nice to see him contribute to it in a very meaningful fashion. However, he does have his own issues at the moment, as we spoke about the other night.
Yeah,
and
still self-defense, clear as bloody day.
Oh, absolutely. And Mrs. Cossack is going to give birth to Junior Cossack. I don't think she'll be allowed to do that inside the embassy, and he won't therefore be allowed to be at the birth.
Is that the Cossack's first?
Yes, that's his firstborn son. So,
oh man, missing out on that. No, really?
I know, and there's no way he can avoid, or he can avoid the police. I mean, if he steps out and goes to the hospital, they'll arrest him before the birth of the baby, they'll be real bastards and they'll let the baby be born and arrest him before he can even hold him.
Here's a question for you. Understanding that it's a consulate, and they would probably have a fairly decent medical setup in that consulate, right? So she could well do birth at the consulate without a problem, right? Doesn't necessarily. They have their own doctors, everything. But the question is the baby, because it's born theoretically on Russian soil,
yes,
not Australian?
In theory, it would have dual citizenship if Russia does do dual citizenship because they gave Russian citizenship to the Cossack. So,
true.
So yes, they do dual citizenship. So yes, he could be a dual citizen if born inside the consulate. And you're quite right. They probably do have significant medical facilities in there for that. Well, that would be one.
Only by heritage of the parents, he would get the dual citizenship.
Yes.
Yeah, by heritage.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
He would.
What's this one?
Anyway, yes.
What?
Lots of Army bushrangers on full armour and guns are on the Bruce Highway. That's interesting. Were they heading north or south, what the?
Yeah. More info, please.
Have to think about exercises. Shoalwater Bay is north and north of Rockhampton.
Sunflowers does say she sees them on there. I think Sunflowers having an interesting day today. See them on the Brush Spyway. Is that a new name for it, Sunflower? Love it. Love it.
Sunflower might have had some of Rick's drugs.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, Sunflower.
We better watch ourselves. We'll get ourselves in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. For those that are concerned and wondering what sort of drugs Rick has, Rick has one of those mobility diseases, unfortunately. So I think it's MS, and so it's a very debilitating thing for a man who was one of the Sunshine Coast's leading business people in his field at the time when he was struck down with this. And Sunflower is a dynamite, absolute dynamite lady. She is a workhorse of immense proportion who is a true mama bear. You don't want to mess with this lady or her family. in any way, shape, or form. God love her, and I am so thankful that we have her and others like her in our family here, because she's protective of all of us too. Don't you worry about that. She's there to support whenever she can, and clearly on the Sunshine Coast when we do events there, she and Rick and well, in some cases the whole family turn up and help out, and we're very grateful to have her and others, as I say, in the family. Sandy's another one. God love her. And just on that, while we give our quick plug for buying a $2 ticket in our lottery and helping out the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary in the process, you could win $750 or a gram of gold, which we've got up for grabs at the moment as our secondary prize. It's not really a second prize. At the moment, golds are not always a nice thing to have. At the moment, I think it's particularly nice. And we share the profits of what we make out of this, which is all of $750. We share that with Sandy, and we want to give her as much as possible. And to find out just sort of how we can help more, I'm going to the Donkey Sanctuary too.
Now, in all fairness, he's been so missing disco. He really has, and he just had to go back.
Mate, I haven't had anything tug on my pants since disco.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
I am. Trust me. Trust me. So yes, we'll go and see Sandy and Baz and Disco and May and the rest. I'm going to have to learn a few more names. I was speaking to Sandy earlier today, just to sort of arrange whether or not I stay there tomorrow night on my way down to Canberra, or I go a bit further and get to Canberra on Sunday at a reasonable hour, or I come back and stay next weekend. And the plan currently is either way. I may stay there on the way down. We'll see what time I wind up leaving here. And on the way back, which will be next Friday night, we will be doing a show from the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary with Sandy, Baz, and I don't know who will be able to get up in the shed. We might be able to get May, maybe, I don't know. But we hope to be surrounded by at least a couple of donkeys. There'll be a cat, there'll be a dog, there could be a few birds. They've got beautiful wedge-tailed eagles down there. And then apparently I'm going to be put to work. So we'll take some video of that too. And that might form a show on Monday when I get back, so I can let you know what actually goes on at the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary, rather than walk around like we did last time and just look at the pretty donkeys. We'll actually get into it and see just how much work there is in looking after these poor, abused animals, or who have just been abandoned because their owners have passed away, and or simply the donkeys have outgrown the areas that they were initially bought for, or the area has been sold, or a variety of reasons. But these donkeys have a forever home at the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary.
Unless as long as the goods,
yeah. Well,
you said,
like everything, it costs money, and the sanctuary costs a lot of money to keep going, with food and doctors or vet bills, looking after all the hooves and teeth. And these are regular ongoing costs. And in fact, Sandy said to me today she wished that she could come down to Canberra with me and spend a day down there, even if it was just for 1 or 2 days. But she simply can't at the moment because she is struggling to find food for 108 donkeys. Now, I wish there was somewhere I could take a couple of big bales down, but I don't think the little Suzuki's going to pull. I could take 2 small bales maybe. But yeah, it's sad that they're under so much pressure at the moment that things may change in the future, and that would be a critically bad thing, not just for the sanctuary but for the donkeys in general. And if you need any reminding why the donkeys need a sanctuary, I will tell you why. It's because the Chinese, God love them, have a desire to extract, I don't know, there is a name for it, but consider it a jelly-like substance that is produced by donkeys, and it is found between the skin and the muscle of a donkey, all over them. But this gel cannot be extracted if the donkey is dead. It can only be extracted if the donkey is alive. And how would they extract it? They skin the donkey alive and scrape it off. It's that awful.
Yeah.
And that's why the location of the donkey sanctuary is something that is kept relatively secret. There is always somebody at the sanctuary. There are cameras all over the place. And if they're not, they bloody well will be. No, there are. And anybody who comes onto the property is seen coming a long way off. But, you know, I was talking to poor old Keith last week, and he's got a friend, I think I told you about here on the show, who had, cattle rustled from her and lost $200,000+ worth of cattle. And this could well be the same kind of thing. People would come on and rustle the donkeys off because she has to move them around. I mean, they've got, I want to say it's 300 acres and set in different paddocks. You can't just leave them all in one paddock. So they've got to be moved around so that the grass can recover and the paddocks can recover and yada, 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 yada. So this is always an ongoing thing. And when there isn't any grass in those paddocks, I don't think that's the issue quite at the moment. But
it's going to head that way. Summer's coming.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they have donkeys in the ICU that need care. So they're not actually getting out into any paddocks. They have a run, but most of them probably aren't really well enough to use that run. And there is a bit of grass, I think, down the bottom of that. But it's a more an ICU, so they don't move too much. They stay under cover. They've got a lot of straw and all that sort of stuff around them. So, and that's the other thing, you know, the straw or the feed is one thing, but straw is also in high demand. So that's used in all the stalls and all that sort of stuff. So, the cross on the donkey's back, Ian. I was blown away by that when Sandy showed it to me the first time I was there. And it still amazes me. And I get it's a weird thing. I get such a strange feeling around those donkeys. It's a beautiful feeling, a very warm, loving feeling. And then one of them comes along and stands on your foot or bites you in the nuts. But, it is what it is. The good Lord put them on the earth to test us at times. But I do get a wonderful feeling being around them. They are truly beautiful. And the ones that have been hurt or abused or damaged are some of the most loving and wonderful if you can get to them, if they will allow you. And thankfully, after spending time with Sandy and Baz, they come around. You know, Sandy is the most loving woman, and Baz is, not the most loving woman, but he loves the most loving woman. Can I put it that way? He's a great man and a wonderful support to her. So, rotate paddocks. Yeah, that's the big fella, Baz.
Oh, that's Baz, is it? Okay. So, How many donkeys did you say they had?
108 at the moment.
Right. So that means that next Friday night there'll be 109.
There will be. I might even get a big set of ears for you.
Thank you. I was wondering if anybody else in the audience would have picked that one up.
So I want to thank I want to thank. I didn't ask whether or not I could mention his name publicly, so I won't. But one of you in the chat, I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, has helped with a donation that will give me the money to get there, the fuel money to get there. So I can't thank him enough for that. That is, that's made a considerable burden on our funds a lot lighter. And if anybody else wants to help, then just simply go to the donate page at vofhq.com. And if you want to help us out with fuel or anything else for during the week, and to get back, of course, that's always going to be the fun part. Then
we're going to leave you
do that.
We'll just leave you in Canberra. That's fine.
Well,
everybody,
no,
don't donate.
I think
do not donate. No, don't donate. Just leave him in Canberra. See what damage you can do down there.
I'll crawl to the donkey sanctuary if that's how it's going to be. So, and I'll just go back and get a bit of loving from the donkeys in a, strictly blokey kind of way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. No. Not in a Catholic school kind of way.
Oh, boy. So this is what happens on a Friday night when we've both been busy and we don't have time to really get stuff organised. We rattle on like a pair of prats, making really weird, bad jokes, and you guys put up with it. So all I have to say is thank you for putting up with us. So
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
You are wonderful people.
You're wonderful people.
I want to send out my thoughts and best wishes to Skipper Pete, who is currently working his ring off in Ingham. Very busy time of the year for him at the moment with everything that's going on. I was talking to him the other day. I was hopeful that I thought it might be a big ask, and it turns out it is. But I was hopeful we might be able to catch up in Airlie Beach when the cruise next May stops there for the day, and we can get off and have a bit of a look around. I've never been to Airlie Beach, so I am really looking forward to this cruise and being able to stop there and hopefully meet up with those of you who can't come on the cruise but live, Proserpine, Airlie. I don't know if there might be anybody who wants to come from further afield. Townsville's, what would Townsville be? 3.5 hours, probably. That's probably about as far. There might be some people who might come from up the... Oh, no, I don't think that's too far. So if you are around that area, we will let it be known. I'll find a place in Airlie Beach well before the event and let them know that there'll be me and an indeterminate amount of people coming for lunch because there could be a lot of people. It's petrol, Baz, so thank you.
And a 48-year-old Gilbert. Did you not see that before? How old can donkeys get? That was from, where am I? See if I can find it again.
Yeah, 48. Yeah, oh, so Gilbert. Yeah, okay. So they can live to 50 plus years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So when you get a donkey, they are for life. I mean, the kind of thing you keep on your property, and good on you, Kev. Kind of thing you keep on your property. Great guard dogs or guard donkeys for sheep and other herds of things. They get along with alpaca. And interestingly, the alpaca get along with them because sometimes that's not always the case. The alpaca can be right bastards. Speaking of right bastards, what the?
This is a full screen job.
Did I tell you that What the has named one of the dogs yet? Have I let you in on that?
Yeah, you let me in. I don't know if you let the crowd in, but yeah, you did. So
meet. White one. That's all white. That's Carl Jr.
Unfortunately,
because of the white.
Unfortunately, everything you said was not there because your mic turned off when you put the full view on.
Oh, good on me. Right. So I'll turn my microphone back on when I play the next one. So the all-white puppy, I'll play this again, the all-white puppy that's sort of second in the shot, if you like, and winds up looking at the camera at the end, has been named Carl Jr. Have a look. So not that one with the arse, that one, the head of it, that one, yeah, looking at the camera, has been named Carl Jr.
Now, I wonder if that's because of the all white part.
It is.
Say,
that's
not
exactly
common for
that's
healers.
exactly why. All
Very
to do because
uncommon
of the,
for a healer.
Well, the thing is, I have pictures of mum and dad. And mum, I think it's mum, is pure white. And dad is a white and red healer.
Really?
So, yeah, but mum is pure white with only a very little bit on her paws. So I've never seen a pure white one before, I've got to admit. And all I have to say about that is bastard. That's him falling on his ass there, I think. Oh, it looks like he's getting a little colour between the ears. But messing about.
Yeah.
So what the? Bastard. The only saving grace here is I'm going to go to Canberra next week. If I wasn't going to Canberra next week, I would be calling in to see Wapda, just to catch up, not to see the dog in any way, shape or form. It's just that I would have to drive past him to go where I need to go. And I've promised for some time that I would catch up with him. And now he just happens to be looking after 8 boy puppies and 1 girl puppy. And yes, they are available for sale, people, if you are interested. I know a bastard who can hook you up with the bloke who owns them.
He's just jealous because he's saying to me he would really like the dog, and I've said no. You have other plans. If you wish to be traveling around all over the place, and there'll be times when you won't be in the bus, who's going to look after it? So I'm the culprit. I'm the one who said no. I told you, he doesn't run this show anymore. I do, right? I get to make all the hard decisions and be called the arsehole. So that's how it works.
I'm still the one who's got to turn up at Wapda's place and see the dog.
Yeah, well, there is a solution to that.
Wait until he's not babysitting the dogs anymore before I go to see him. Yeah.
That's one of them. Yep.
Yeah.
Just in time for the next litter. Yes, I am a hard man.
Yeah.
The last 5 years has made me a lot harder, I can tell you. Well,
yes, there is a lot of good sense that you speak there, white man, but it's a very cute white dog. Just saying.
Yeah, true. And I mean, blue healers and red healers, that's the red healer batch I gather from there. They're wonderful dogs, exceptionally smart. Had a blue healer that I used to round up sheep with at one stage. So, but
my uncle used to have one. It turned up it was pretty good at rounding up people as well. Well, then I tried rounding up one with a gun one day, and that person made sure it didn't round anything else up after that. So,
bugger.
Bugger is right. But you're right. They're very, very smart, and protection for the bus would be great. You know, come inside and find that thing on a bad day looking at you. But I would be concerned that, I mean, he would have to be outside when I wasn't here because being shut up in a bus with a few windows open is no different to being shut up in a car, except I've got covers on the windows here. I don't let as much heat into the bus. He wouldn't melt, but I'd probably have to have air conditioning or air on all day in here for him, certainly as a puppy, and that is problematic.
Not to mention,
and then when I leave and have to, the AC only works on a 15 amp circuit. So,
But what I was going to say was not to mention what the bus might look like after you come back, because it's a healer, right? They get bored really quickly and they will entertain themselves. How many shoes do you have?
Not enough. And in fact, I'm doing a cull right as we speak. I'm getting rid of my red Nikes that Laura bought me years ago, and I've worn about twice. Every time I wear them, because I've got nothing else to wear. I can't find anything else to wear. I wear them, and someone I know always bumps into me and just looks at my feet and looks at me and looks at my feet again and just shakes their head. So I can't wear them. They are brand new size 9 Nikes, and I'm about to toss them. So, I won't toss them out. I'll go and give them to... well, it certainly won't be the Red Cross or Vinnie's. I'll go and find maybe a local op shop or something to give them to. But
put a couple of white stripes on them, mate. They go faster.
Well, I thought about sending them to Melbourne to get them dyed, but it turns out that the cost of doing that is more expensive than buying a new pair of shoes. So, and it sounds to me like a terrible waste. I can just, like I did, went to Kmart and bought a pair of shoes for $25, and they'll do just fine. They're black and they're a sneaker. They're comfortable for a while, so they'll be fine. What was that? Healers let you in the yard and don't let you out.
Let you out, and then my son's stumptail.
Shoot everything but bones and cats. Yeah, well, when I was living on the Sunshine Coast, for a large portion of the time, I was living on the property with 2 dogs, a blue and a red healer, Wilson and Della. Beautiful, beautiful dogs, but they hated anybody coming onto their property if they didn't know them. And they could be, particularly Della, quite vicious. They hated other dogs on site, very protective of their land. And yet, when Laura came to me after her experience, she brought Chili. And for the 2 years or more that we lived at that place with Laura living in a tent outside the donga that I was in, Chili was always carried to and from the car. She was never allowed to run around outside. One of the dogs we would trust her with, Della, because Della knew, even though she hated Chili or just hated another dog being in her space, she knew that if she hurt Chili, there'd be no more love from Laura and I. And she was pretty into the love that she got from Laura and I. But Wilson, he was just a grumpy old bastard, and he would have chomped her in half in a heartbeat. And that's the other concerning thing. While I would like a dog that does have a level and measure of protection mode in it, it has to be well trained. And if I take on a dog like this, I'm not going to want a dog like this that isn't well trained. And that relies on me being well trained. So I need to be able to dedicate the time to that so that I can get the best out of the dog. And like you say, Vince, if I have to leave him inside, I come home and he hasn't torn the crap out of the couch, which I can't begin to think, or one of the captain's chairs. I can't begin to think what it would cost to replace one of the chairs in here.
It's been bad enough getting the lights fixed.
I was going to say, trying to find a frigging headlight. Yeah.
Oh, and I have one other thing to say.
Co-host the show. They're so intelligent. Yeah, you're right. You're probably right.
And I just have one other thing to say. Woof, woof.
That takes me all the way back to watching a movie called Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah.
And Oddball, who was the tank captain in that movie, woof woof, played by Donald Sutherland. Who says I don't know my old movies? Go and watch it. Very funny movie with a lot of big names in it. Clint Eastwood stars. Kelly's Heroes, it's called. Very funny World War II movie. A bunch of US Marines go and steal millions of dollars worth of gold out of a German bank behind enemy lines. And they do that without their bosses knowing about it, obviously. But then they get discovered as having broken through the front lines and making a charge for this town. So they wind up becoming responsible for this whole surge of the armies. And while they're robbing the bank out the back and getting a truck driving away with all the gold. There's a general out the front shaking the hand of Clint Eastwood, and Telly Savalas is in it, Don Rickles. It's really worth having a look if you're looking for a funny old World War II movie. Worth having a look. Although I haven't viewed it now since I've had my Satanic Awakening, so who knows? I'm very fussy these days about what I watch. I'll have to go and watch that at some stage.
Big shout out to Paul Bartlett for $20. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
That's much appreciated.
Yep. That is wonderful. And also, Paul put in 25.
Twice.
Geez, that's 45 all up. So
wow. Mate,
thank you, mate.
Settle down.
Yeah. Geez. Was that just a double tap you didn't mean to do? Do you want a refund? Let us know.
He's got two different amounts, so I gather he's meant to do it. So big shout out to Paul. Right.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Paul, for that. I'm taking next year off, by the way. I forgot to tell you, Carl.
You're what?
I said I'm taking next year off. I forgot to tell you. Right, sometime probably towards the end of next year, Stargate's starting again. So I'm taking the rest of the time off. I know, I'm hopeless. No, I'm only kidding.
Stargate is starting again.
Yeah, I'm a sci-fi nut. For anybody who doesn't know,
will it have Richard Dean Anderson in it?
No, it's a totally new storyline, but staying within the same universe and and everything that's in the history is still in the history. So they'll be able to pull characters in and out as they go and whatever. Anyway, that's just something totally different. We're talking about a TV show. Entertainment for the people, because they won't be able to work, because AI is going to take pretty much every job by the year 2035. So Paul
sorry, Vince, I'm not laughing at you.
Oh, no, I laugh at me all the time. It's fine.
Stickers isn't what it says.
Sticks. Paul wants a couple of sticks. I misread it. We've been gas bagging for way longer than we should have.
Yeah, we've gone a bit longer. So tomorrow I might get bored, and if something big, loud, and wonderful happens in the United States of America, I will probably jump on the main channel using the phone with the microphone plugged in at the bottom of it, so you'll at least be able to hear me while I'm driving along. If you would like to come to Canberra and be there on Sunday, and you want to meet up and drive down tomorrow, then I guess send me an email rapidly. I will check before I can check them while I'm on the road. If you're in Coffs Harbour, or if you're in Port Macquarie, if you're in Newcastle, and Ange and Craig, who I missed out on seeing last weekend, tragically. If you guys are free, I would love to catch up with you briefly, even if it's only for coffee. I will send you a message when I'm heading down tomorrow. And if I'm right in saying, and I leave at the right time, I should be around you about midday. You may well be working. So if that's the case, we'll do it on the way back. But I'm definitely going to catch up with you guys. And yes, so if you're in Newcastle, and if you are in Newcastle, the plan is, if I leave at an appropriate time, I'll stay with Sandy and Baz tomorrow night. But I will be leaving there very early on Sunday morning, with about 5 hours of drive to get to Canberra. So if there were any people wanting to catch up along the way, I will probably get some fuel along Raymond Terrace, somewhere between about 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning or a bit after. And then I will drive probably through to Pheasant's Nest, where I'll top up with fuel again, just to make sure, because there aren't too many servos once you get off on the road heading to Canberra. So I'll top up and get to Canberra, in theory, by 9:30 on Sunday morning. and I'll catch up with Wade. We'll set ourselves up, and we will be streaming live with Vince's help, provided he's awake, I guess.
No, we should be. I should be fine. As long as I have a rough idea, I'll try and be where I'm going to try and be. Sorry, guys, I do sleep really weird hours,
So yeah, we'll be aiming to be on air probably for an hour or so on Sunday. There might be some other people who turn up for a bit of a chat, but between Wade and myself, we might be able to stream live to Billboard Battalion too, to their YouTube channel, Vince. So we'll have to try and sort that out.
Yeah, and also FBN if we can do it as well.
And FBN, yep. So we can put all that together, and that'll be pretty much how the week works. Every day, probably early in the morning, we will do something from in front of Parliament House. In the afternoons, we will be going to Parliament House and sitting in the chambers waiting for them to try and pull this stunt again. If you can come and join us on any of the days, then we would love to see you both out in front of Parliament House when we're doing the lives, and also come into the public galleries and join us there for what should be an interesting time if they decide they're going to play this bullshit game. Thank you, Connie. I will have a safe trip. And yeah, the place to find us will be Parliament House. We'll be there. Well, I'll be there certainly from 10 o'clock, unless Wade convinces me I need to be somewhere else before I go there. But I want to get everything set up with Vince. We'll be on air probably a quarter of an hour before, just to make sure that we can go live at midday. So be prepared for that. That's coming up on Sunday. As for shows next week at night, we'll see how that plays out. I have a plan. There are a couple of people that I'm very keen to catch up and interview. Whether or not we do that in a live sense, I beg your pardon?
I just said okay.
Whether or not we do that in a live sense, or these interviews are something more for FBN, I think they'll be, rather than for the Voice of Freedom sort of normal interview. These will be a bit different. With one lady in particular who has an immense historical knowledge of the political party system in Canberra dating back to the 70s. And she is so well connected to this day that she can tell me all sorts of wonderful things well before mainstream media knows about it, or will let you know about it. So she's a very surprising lady. And I think she's a bit keen to tell her story. And the parts of the story that I've heard are pretty cool. So it might be more than one show to talk to this lady. And that's why I think it's going to be an FBN style program that might have multiple parts to it. It's going to be good. So I'll catch up with her. And there's a couple of gentlemen I'd like to catch up with too, including one of the blokes from the Canberra Weekly. He'd be the bloke that owns it. And have a bit of a chat with him too. Pete Sampras, his name is, and really nice guy. And we've caught up a few times before. In fact, the last time we had lunch, I was reminded of it today because this lady was at that lunch. The last time we had lunch, I saved a person's life.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. I'd forgotten about it too. There was a lady sitting at a table. She was sort of over my left shoulder. And these two other people were sort of to my front and to my right. And this lady could see the woman over my shoulder start to choke on something that she was eating. And this was an Indian lady. Her husband and two children didn't seem to have any idea what to do. And I wasn't aware that this was happening. Margaret had been watching it apparently for a little while. And she's tapped me on the hand and said, that lady's choking. And I sort of looked over and I looked at the bar to see if anybody else was coming or noticed. And I just stood up and walked over and I said to the husband, "Can I help?" And he was nodding his head rather furiously. And then I turned the lady around and I said, "Can I help you?" And she nodded her head. And I probably did the wrong thing because I did the Heimlich maneuver. I just reached around her and grabbed and squeezed and out shot a chunk of whatever that was that she'd been chewing on that stopped a windpipe. At which point she said, "Oh, thank you." And I said, "Yeah, great, no worries," and went and sat down again. And we continued our conversation. And I'd never given it another thought. But clearly some people remember it. So they didn't even offer to buy me a beer for lunch. I mean, the people I was with did. But, yeah. So,
all right.
I don't know. Maybe buying beers as a thank you isn't big in Indian culture. Just saying.
Yeah, well, could be. So, for those people, that is the FBN media channel. If you want to go over there and just click like and subscribe, so that if we do these programs on the FBN channel, you will be able to find them. Right? Just wanted to put that out there. And because Carl is planning to get his little sorry head out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, guys, I think it's time that this presenter said goodbye so that he can say goodbye. All right.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Wave again. I missed the last bit there. If I could cut the thumbnail out for that, I would. That's how good it is. All right, folks. Can't thank you enough for the support that you give us. And as you can see there, tickering along the bottom quite happily, if you would like to support us and the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary, although in large part what we plan on giving is everything to the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary because they need it right now. Just $2 a ticket, and you can get it there at that site, merch.vofhq.com. Follow the Sanctuary 750 link. And I think there's less than 200 tickets left in this lottery. It will churn over and go into a new one. And we've got silver up for grabs again, another ounce of silver up for grabs again, I think, in the next one. Is that right, Vince, or are we adding further to that?
No, just one normal silver in the next one after that.
Stingy prick. Anyway, you all right? So anyway, that's the plan for the next one. We'll see how we go, and I hope you have a bloody good weekend. If you're on the road, I'll have Channel 40 on the CB. Whether or not I can hear it, although I've probably got a pretty good chance of hearing it in the Suzuki. So we'll see how that goes. If you're driving past, give me a call out. It's a little white Grand Vitara. It doesn't have anything written on it. You're going to have to look for the little white bearded bastard sitting in the driver's seat. I fully expect that I'll have a very safe drive, just as I fully expect that while I'm driving, I'm going to meet no end of dickheads on the road. But there might be a couple of cameras running in that car tomorrow, and I could be able to show them to you. Might be fun. Enjoy yourselves over the weekend. If you are coming to Canberra, Sunday, 12 o'clock, look forward to seeing you there. If you're going to come to Canberra, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, I'll be there. And you can be guaranteed that we'll be around Parliament House, probably at some freezing o'clock time of the day. You got no idea how many warm clothes I am bringing to Canberra. I did a little bit of Googling. 10 degrees. 10 degrees. Almost one wishes for a dickhead on the road. No. Let's never wish for anything like that. Stay clear of those dickheads on the road, folks, and have a great weekend.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!